I think as men, as leaders, as men of God, we have a tremendous responsibility to make a positive impact, especially in our homes.
If you're working only to serve you and make sure everything serves you, you end up with you and you isolated yourself. And that's the hardest part that people forget. They want to blame others for the way that they are, but then don't do any of the work on yourself. If you got to go to therapy, go to therapy.
Absolutely.
It's okay.
Yes.
Go to therapy. Find somebody that you can talk to.
Welcome to the Will Podcast, where our goal and mission here is to discuss wisdom, inspiration, leadership, and legacy. And today I have my special guest, Matt Ratcliffe, with me today, and we are going to talk about issues in our community, issues with men, and how you doing today, Matt?
Oh, today's a great day. Yeah,
Awesome.
Woke up, it's Friday.
It is.
And end of the week, we're getting stuff done.
Awesome. So tell the audience a little bit about yourself. Who are you? What do you do?
Yep. Okay. So name's Matt Ratcliffe. First, I'm a father.
Okay.
Got my daughter Lillian, my son Luke. I'm also a great husband. So my
awesome.
wife
Yep.
Cheryl. She's my favorite person in the world. Beyond that, I've worked for Gilbane Building Company. I'm a project manager over there. Actually managing a condo right here in downtown Jacksonville. Pretty extensive, complicated project. Got a lot of moving parts. A lot of things to deal with. So I would say I'm a master puzzler.
Right.
Trying to put it all together, bridge the communication, get a lot of people to get the job done.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we do here at DeVore Capital. We're licensed general contractor, licensed roofing contractor, real estate broker, and putting all of those pieces in place, managing people and the personalities. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do.
Especially personalities.
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
That is different. It can be complicated at times. But I think sometimes when we look at our role as leaders inside of organizations, we have the faith component of our life that we're called to let that be what goes before us, right?
That's
like
correct.
Our testimony, should come out in everything that we do, and we can't necessarily turn off our faith and our belief in Jesus Christ because we're at work.
That's right.
Right.
It's constant. It's got to be. It's in bed. Everything. You go in, out. You got to take it wherever you go. It's part of you.
Right. And I've talked to so many men that are in leadership positions in the secular world, right? And the whole world is secular, right?
Yeah.
But they seem to have this stigma that they can't lead with their faith because they're a general contractor or a lawyer or a candlestick maker or whatever, but that's not what God has called us to do. He's called us to be men, to be godly men everywhere we're at.
Yeah.
And even if it's in some of the dark places. So we've had a couple of great conversations off camera before about how you like to, just be there and be attentive and help develop your team.
Well, and the culture. I mean, you got to develop the culture.
Yeah.
Like you got to allow for that stuff to happen. And you've got to be able to stay open-minded and meet people where they're at.
Yeah.
All right. So I deal with a lot of secular people. I'd say 90% of the construction industry is secular. I mean, you deal with it too. You know. But that doesn't mean that you can't still reach people where they're at. But you have to understand their lives. You have to understand how sin impacts people's lives and how it can be redeemed. And when you fully understand that, you're able to meet anybody where they're at, no matter what. It doesn't bother you. It doesn't change who you are as a man, as a leader. And you should be able to lead that conversation and have enough confidence in yourself and confidence in Jesus that you're going to be fine.
Right.
He's already set the conversation up for you. He didn't do any of, he did all of the work. We don't have to do any of the work. So just start talking and leading,
Well, and you said it there, like he did everything. And because of that, sometimes I'll say we have an obligation to go out. But it's a blessing to be able to go out.
Yeah.
Because I've had the opportunity to experience something that gives me true joy,
Yeah.
true peace, true humility.
Yeah.
And I want you to have a piece of that.
That's right.
So why would I keep it secret?
Right. Yeah, exactly. If you truly value it and it genuinely excites you and you live for it, why would you hide it? unless it truly doesn't excite you.
Yeah.
You know, but to me that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Right. No, it doesn't make any sense at all. And when you look at someone who doesn't necessarily believe what we believe, they're still created by God.
Right.
And they still have value.
That's right.
So we don't want to, oh, well, you don't agree with me.
Right.
So I'm just going to cast you aside.
Yeah, dismiss you. Yeah,
Right.
you sit over there, I'll sit over here. We're gonna separate ourselves.
Yeah, you can't do that.
It can't work like that.
It doesn't work, especially in managing multi-million-dollar projects. You got to put all of those personalities, all of those different belief systems or lack thereof
Together.
They're together.
You got to put them in a room. We got to talk.
And understand that as the leader, I'm not going to compromise my beliefs and my convictions to make you feel good.
Right.
But it's my job to motivate you, to lead you, and then hopefully through that encounter and that engagement, you can see that I have something that's a little different than what you came to the table with.
Yeah, that's right. And I think people, they respond to what you're inspired by.
Yeah.
So if you allow God to inspire you and you stay in your disciplines, which is, read the Bible, read, Psalms, Proverbs, pick wherever it is, start somewhere, and allow it to inspire you. So take those words and what is motivating you that day? What's getting you through that day? Those are all important and all play a role in every conversation and everything that you're talking about. Yep. I say as a leader, as somebody who has a responsibility of keeping the environment stable, the culture stable, to make sure I'm not like reacting too quickly to something and not allowing things that are talked about to become reality. I need that grounding on a regular basis. So it's something I need to stay in the Bible. I've got to read the words and stay true to what truly grounds me as a person, and I would say as a leader, I spend a lot more time really focusing on where I'm grounded, and not allowing other things to take or distract me going somewhere else.
Sure.
Because of the importance of the position.
Absolutely. Because we want to be able to respond in all things in wisdom.
Right.
And the more we get into the scripture, the more we realize where our foundation lies.
Right.
And why we do what we do.
Right.
Right. We get a paycheck.
Yeah.
To do what we do.
Yeah.
But give God glory in all things.
Yeah.
To do things for the glory of God. Everything that we do. So it's we show up to work to achieve at a high level, not so you can say, Will did great or Matt did great.
Right.
It's because God is great.
That's right. The credit does go to God because, at the end of the day, he is the one that created that.
Right.
He is the one that did all the work to create even an environment that people would respect. And when people, anybody, no matter what, they know who Jesus is. And there's not a lot of people that say, I have a problem with Jesus. I don't hear that very often. Yep. They'll say, I have a problem with the way somebody has interpreted Jesus' actions and maybe is, thrown it down my throat,
right.
Or demanding me to act a certain way, but there's not a lot of problem that comes back and says, hey, I have a problem with Jesus himself. Yeah. So that's the basis of the culture. It's the basis of the foundation. So it is up to us what we do with what God has already done. We can lead from the example that Jesus has set for us. Yeah. And, our job site, they respect that. And our job site, at least my job site, you are free to talk how you want to talk. And they know in my trailer / room / office, that they're going to get a lot of respect. Yep. And if I decide to talk about faith that day, that's what we're going to talk about.
That's it. Because what I've noticed is as people become to know who I am, not what I do,
right,
but who I am.
Yeah.
How they approach me changes.
Yeah.
How they act around me changes.
It does.
And it's not that I'm super holy.
No.
It's I am trying to just be a little bit better every day.
Yeah.
And that's the example and that's the tone.
Yeah.
So if I walk in and I'm, got 2 hours of sleep last night and I'm not feeling the best, I'm still going to put on the armor.
Right.
And I'm going to step into the day as if I've already achieved a lot of sleep, a lot of happiness. I'm not going to allow my circumstances to change my testimony.
Yeah, that's right.
Because that's the example that I'm setting.
Yeah.
If it's okay to come in, in a bad mood, in a bad demeanor a couple of days a week, well, then guess what? Everybody that's around us and under us is going to think, oh, well, that's okay to do that.
That's right. And they will.
Absolutely.
And they will. As soon as the demand stops or the reputation stops, they're gonna meet you where you're at too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I was reading an article this morning, and it was talking about the state of California had put forth some legislation to ban, I'll say make illegal. I don't know if there's any criminal consequences that will come from it, but it said ban anyone in the school system in California from telling parents if their students, the parents' children, are transitioning or talking about transitioning or any of those things.
Is that a teacher can't tell the parents?
Anyone in the school system, a teacher, an administrator, anybody who is employed by by the school system.
I didn't read the article, so I just wanted to be clear.
Yep.
So if a child, or maybe not a child, I guess it's anybody in school age, high school age could be.
Sure.
If they're going through something personally, they keep it to themselves. Don't express it to the parents.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they are not allowed to share that with the children. So there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be in uproar over. Oh, well, they shouldn't do that. They should share, and they should. And I do not think that the government should have more control over your children than you do. I do think, go back. It takes a village. There should be unity in what's happening from an educational standpoint. And if a child is going through anything, right? If a child is caught with a bag of drugs, you're going to tell the parent.
Mm-hmm.
If the child is being abused at home, you're going to notify law enforcement.
That's information that's of criminal consequence. It needs to be shared.
Yep. If the child was abused by an administrator, you're going to notify the parents.
Right.
I don't know how this is different, because this is a significant life choice that these children are making. Parents should be notified, in my opinion. But
I think you're going to have to go to a second level there. I mean, you go at a surface level, maybe. But my challenge is going to be, as a parent, shouldn't you know? You
should know. You should absolutely know. So how has this even become a topic of conversation?
Yeah.
Have parents gotten to be so ill-informed as to what their children are going through that this is a shock?
I'm going to say, if you're at a point where you're relying on the teacher or a government entity to tell you about your child, there's more broken down inside the home than you realize.
You've hit a wall of failure that is undescribable in my opinion.
I mean, in my mind, and it's going back job site, just anything, communication is the relationship.
Yep.
How you talk, what you talk about, everything that you do. So me as leader, job site, and on my home, I like to be in the forefront of every communication. What is occurring? What is happening? Okay, if a change is occurring, why? I'm going to immediately say why. I look at that law and I go, I don't feel it to be applicable to me as a leader.
Right.
Because I'm probably going to know.
Sure.
And I don't need somebody else telling me.
Right.
And if it's not, of criminal content, I mean, I don't know if I need to know. Now, if they're out there doing something criminally that's going to get them in trouble or hurt them, let me know.
Sure.
But I feel like that communication, you should already know.
Right. And it seems we'll shift that to men, right? The role of the father. Biblically speaking, the role of the father is to raise up your children into the ways of God, so that if they depart, they come back.
Yeah.
Kids are going to make mistakes.
What?
It's going to happen.
Oh,
yeah, it's going to happen.
Shock.
Kids are going to make mistakes. But if we're raising them up and we're teaching them the right way and we have that open line of communication, and it's not like we're we're parents. We're not friends.
Right.
There's a certain level of
accountability. Yeah.
Obedience, right?
Yeah.
I'm obedient to God.
Yep.
My children need to be obedient to what's being taught in our home, but that also comes. Obedience happens when you have open and honest communication.
Yeah.
And also the example that's being set.
Well, and teaching them discipline. Yeah. I mean, you and I know as leaders, like the discipline is of utmost importance. Yep. Okay, because I know that I will slip. I know that I will fail if I do not practice my regular disciplines. Yep. Reading the Bible, talking. Same thing with relationships. If I forget to talk to you for 2 weeks, how good is that relationship?
Right.
That discipline needs to be in place. Hey, I need to call you once a week, at least once a week. Yep. I need to talk to you at dinner time. Whatever that communication is occurring probably tells you what the value of that relationship is.
Yeah.
So keep talking and maintain a discipline. So I say that, even as a dad and as a father, it is one of my primary jobs is to teach my kids how discipline helps you. Yeah. Okay. If you want to achieve something in life, whatever it is, let's say my daughter wants to be a professional Barbie doll builder. Okay. We're going to throw that out there.
Sounds like a good job. Okay.
I need to help coach her in the disciplines it takes to do that job.
Right.
If my son decides he wants to follow me and be a builder, I need to be an example and teach him the disciplines required to do that job. Yep. And holding him accountable to what he wants to achieve.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that I have to be an overbearing leader.
Right.
Or anything like that, but let him set goals. Let him set what he wants to do. Hold him accountable, or her, my daughter included, to what they are wanting to accomplish with their life.
I'm Scott DeVore with DeVore Capital. We are a multi-service construction, real estate, and development company. We do services from ground-up development to roofing services to real estate transactions. Reach out to us at 844-4DEVORE or at the website link below.
Absolutely, because so you got discipline and you got discipline.
Yeah, that's right.
So you get out of line, you need discipline.
Yeah.
And you need to have disciplines, things that you're going to do regularly. Then I need to do these things because these things are going to help me be the person, the husband, the father, the leader that I want to be.
That's right.
And by doing that, I'm setting the example, especially inside of the home, for lead with my faith. If I'm not leading with that inside of my home, then I'm just a hypocrite. If I load
don't
up,
be so hard on yourself. Come on now.
That's just the way it is, right? If I load up the family on Sunday morning, and we go to the church house and we have a great time and smile and shake hands and kiss babies and all of those things, but on Monday,
So are you an Instagram churchgoer?
it happens. It happens. But on Monday, if we don't instill those same values and principles into our home, we can't blame the government.
Yeah, that's right.
I can't blame the school system.
That's right.
I can't blame the teacher.
Yep.
Teachers have one of the hardest jobs
on
the planet.
I'm married to one. I know.
We are expecting them to be not only an educator, but a counselor, a therapist, a disciplinarian, all of these other things.
And inform the parents of everything that's going on in their kids' lives.
And how do you do
that?
Because
clearly, I guess, they don't know, so it's the teacher's job to tell everything.
30, 40 kids in a classroom?
Yeah.
And, year after year?
And teach them everything they need to know to be successful adults.
Right.
Sounds like a great job.
Yeah, I wouldn't sign up for it. Being a parent is hard. It's hard. And we have 5, and we have our oldest is he's 27, so he's out, so I don't get to claim him on my taxes anymore. Then we have four daughters. One of them is graduating college this summer. The next one starts college in the fall. I have a 9-year-old and an 8-year-old, and I can tell you it's difficult just inside of the home dynamic with so many different personalities, many different things, and
they're all growing and changing constantly.
Every
the
moment of every day.
You had a year ago is not the same one you got today.
Right. So it's so different. Like our youngest, she just turned 8 last week, and And I remember the day she was born like yesterday,
Yeah.
you know, and you never forget that.
Oh, yeah,
And
no.
she was the miracle baby. The
Wow.
doctor said that she wasn't going to, if she was going to be born, she was going to have all of these issues and these
Yeah.
things wrong.
Yeah.
And they actually had recommended that we would do a DNC, that we, you know, in the pregnancy at, I forget the 8, 9, 10, 12 weeks, because the prognosis of going full term was just not there.
Yeah.
And if she was, then there was going to be this slew of problems.
Right.
And
it worked out.
Putting our faith and our trust in that God's plan was going to be perfect.
Wow.
And no matter what happened, he would equip us and give us what we needed to prevail.
Yeah.
She was born on time, healthy, happy.
Wow.
And now she's 8 years old, and she's just absolutely she's a mess.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I just see, like, I'm responsible for her.
Yeah.
Right. And now with her kind of, and I hope kids don't see this, like with her kind of more than the others, because there was that fear of the unknown that was going to happen with her. I understand love for all of them deeper.
Yeah.
Because I see how much life is in itself a miracle. Right. So anyone that were to tell me that they've never seen a miracle, like, are you breathing?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Are you walking around? Do you have the ability to think? Like, just our total existence here is just an absolute miracle and a blessing and a gift.
Yeah.
And to treat it as such.
Wow.
And
do you think you would have realized the depth of love without the fear?
I think,
or did that further empower
I think
love?
it got deeper.
Yeah.
It got deeper.
Wow.
And so when my wife and I got married, so she had children from a previous relationship, which we can talk about another time. And I immediately stepped into the role of husband and father.
Wow.
And loved all of them from day one. Then when Meredith was born, the way I loved was changed. And it was different. But it wasn't just different for her. Because she was my biological child. Now I understood love in a very different way.
Wow.
That was able to transcend to the rest of the family.
Right.
And then
deepen that.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when Madeline came with the scare that we had, it became deeper. But it wasn't just for her. And the more I interact with people and the more I see the children grow, that ability to love and to care and to have compassion and want to set a good example, just it continues to grow. It's not like you've reached a pinnacle.
Yeah.
Okay, I can only love so much.
Right.
When I think of God's love for us, how great it is.
Yeah.
You know, talk a lot about grace.
Yeah.
If I'm ignorant to the level of God's grace.
Yeah.
Just completely ignorant to it.
I mean, we all are. I mean, there's no way we can get to that level. I mean, I think of even in an example, you know, you talk about, like, you know, the fear that deepens our love for our children and whatnot. You know, I think about God. Like, he gave his son, he had him killed, you know, and went through that whole process of he's gone, and they were separated. Like, imagine that, what God's going through. Like, I am now going to be completely separated from my kid for 3 days. This is God.
Yeah.
God, creator of the universe. Separation.
Right.
You know, and, you know, you think about, like, that fear. Like, if I was separated from my kid, like, that to me scares me.
Right.
That's a fear. Where it was, if Lily and Luke were not, if I did not have a good relationship with them, or if I had a separation in a relationship, that's probably the scariest thing as a father to me.
Sure.
Because it's, you know, what would I do? What depths would I go to restore that relationship?
It's undescribable.
Yeah.
It's, you know, and the hope is that we are setting an example and living a life that when we're 60 and 70, they still want to be around us.
Yeah.
And they want to bring their children around us because of the example that we have set. And
Right.
we're going to make mistakes.
Oh, yeah. I
And
mean, of course,
we're
I make them every day.
Yeah.
I made them and choosing the direction to come to here today.
But I think as men, as leaders, as men of God, we have just a tremendous responsibility to make a positive impact, especially in our home,
Yeah.
but in everywhere that we go, because the next generation and our children's children are responsible. There are people that have not been born yet
Yeah.
that are counting on us to do the right thing.
Yeah, that's right.
Like-
Grandkids are on the way.
They're coming.
Yep.
One day.
Not yet.
One
Not
day.
yet, but one day. That's
And,
right.
yeah.
And we have a responsibility to them too.
Yeah, absolutely.
We set the example. Like, well, the example that we're setting right now is going to transfer into how our kids are,
Yeah.
which is going to transfer into how their kids are.
Which brings me to, we went to a men's conference in Orlando, Ethnan and I,
Yeah.
this past Saturday, and it's the Better Man event, part of Better Man Ministries. And Brian Buckley, I'm giving you a plug. Just it's 20 years
Yeah.
and going strong, and they bring men in for conference to talk about their faith and talk about where they've come from. And kind of one of the themes that I left with is we can't expect someone to give us what they don't have.
Yeah.
And too often, and you can put this in with our fathers, with our former leaders, with our pastors, there's so many people that are, that we look to for things and expect things from us. Because I believe like we were created with a desire to, one, be loved, to be led, and to be leaders.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We were created with that desire.
Right.
So that desire to learn how to do those things
Right.
is there. And I see people, and I was a victim of it. I made myself a victim of it for so long. I held people to a standard that they could not give me. I expected them to give me something that they could not have. So then when I would have my failures, instead of looking in the mirror humbly and saying, no, you made that decision, it was your choice, I would look at that person and say, well, if they would have been better, I would have been better.
Yeah.
And there's some truth in that.
Yeah.
But at some point, you have to take personal responsibility. But it's
Right.
hard for a 10, 11, or 12-year-old that's living in a home without a father
Yeah.
to be able to make, well, I need a father.
Yeah.
So let me go find one.
Right.
Like they can't.
It's not there.
So if there were more men that were operating as what we would call, spiritual fathers for the fatherless, world would change.
Yeah, it would. I mean, men are responsible for stepping up.
Yeah.
It is our leadership. And when properly done, okay, when we properly own our position, and I mean, own it, like make it our own. Like we have a heavy responsibility to do this. Don't slack.
Yep.
It's hard work.
Yep.
But when we do it, we change the world around us.
Sure. Absolutely. And then we plant seeds that go out a little further than that.
Yep.
And we send people on, because not everybody that's working for you today is going to work for you in 10 years.
No.
Right?
I never know what I'm going to be working with.
Right.
I never know how they're going to intermingle, and I never know if tomorrow a foreman's getting changed to another job and another one's coming in.
Yep.
But no matter what, I'm the ground of that project.
Sure.
I'm the one there to the end. Whoever I'm sent, I got to work with.
Right.
I have to.
Yep.
And a lot of times that decision has nothing to do with me.
Yep.
It's the owner of the company says, that's who you get.
Right.
I got a guy. I need him over there.
We think of last night I was teaching, and one of the, we talk about going out into the world and making disciples. And I don't know that any of us would refuse the person that knocked on our door with their brand new John MacArthur study Bible and saying, hey, disciple me. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Right? That's easy.
That's the easy one. When they show up.
That's the easy one. When they show up, how far and few between are those moments?
I guess the challenge is like, well, how are we showing up?
Right.
How do we show up for the people around us?
Yep.
Like, how do we bring the word? Like, aren't we the primary relationship builder?
We should be. We should be. And I like what you said is you have zero control about who comes onto the job.
Yeah.
that
Doesn't change my job.
doesn't change the job. I have no control over who I'm going to bump into at Publix. I have no control over who's going to walk into the church on a Sunday morning,
Right.
or walk into the ministry on a Thursday night,
Right.
or be sitting next to me at a restaurant. And we like to be so isolated, and we don't want to interfere.
Yeah.
But we're called to be bold.
Yeah.
So when you see that person that's going through a thing, we got to interject into their world.
Step up, start the relationship.
Right.
You know, be the spark
Yeah.
to that, and that's everywhere. I mean, it's that's anything that you're doing.
Yep.
You want to start that relationship, get the conversation going, start communicating, figure out a way to do it.
Yep.
I mean, we do it when we meet our future wives, right? Like, man, I like her, you know. And what
Let's
do
talk.
you do? Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk. I mean, how do you get that relationship going? You talk.
You have to. You have to. And most people are not willing to be vulnerable to a stranger.
Yeah, that's right.
So the more that we can show, we're not a stranger.
That's right.
And I actually love you. I don't know you.
Right.
I love you. I want the best for you.
Yeah.
And I don't want anything from you. Now, in the world, in the business sense, it's different.
Yeah.
I want you to perform at a high level for the
Yeah.
task and the job that you've been hired for.
That's right.
what I want
That
for you.
That's a different level.
That
That's
is
a
a
different
different level.
relationship.
Yep.
Yeah. Then
But-
there are standards. Hey, man, when it comes to business, we're gonna talk.
But that doesn't change that you have value, that I do want to be here to support you and help you achieve the best possible experience on this earth that you can.
Yeah.
But part of that is, okay, you got to do your part.
Yeah.
I can give you all of the advice. I can redline all of the plans. But if you're not going to follow through,
Right.
and you go your way and grab some 2x4s and a couple of nails and you build the wall in the wrong spot,
Yeah.
of
Well-
course you're going to bump your head.
Hey, there's some accountability coming to you.
Right. Of course it is. And we see that with people. It's like I ask people now, the more I mature, I'm not saying that I've matured yet, but the more I mature, do you want counsel, or do you just want to vent?
Yeah. Right.
Because if you just want to vent, but
Right.
you actually don't want to do anything
Right.
to change, to make things better, I'm probably not your guy.
Yeah. There's a huge difference.
Because I
There's
have
huge
a
difference.
problem with seeing people that are lost and broken and sad and depressed
Yeah.
when I know there's another way.
That's right.
Because I've been that guy. You don't have to stay that guy.
Yeah.
But are you willing to invest in yourself?
Yeah.
Because I'll give you all I have. But
You willing to go through the change?
Yep.
Can you deal with the struggle?
Yep.
And there's going to be struggle. And that's the thing, too, is like, you know, any relationship, there's going to be struggle. It's going to happen. It's coming.
Yeah.
Okay? You might get the highs and feels, and you might get through, and you might be impressive, let's say, even to your boss. First 3 months, man, I'm making my boss look sharp, blah, blah, blah. You know, but at some point, you're going to hit a rough spot.
Yeah.
And what do? Do you
trials
keep
and
going? Are you willing to struggle through to make that relationship work? Anything.
You should have to.
Parents,
You should have to.
children, are you willing to struggle through with your child?
I am Will with DCRE, Devore Capital Real Estate. We want to help you with your buying and selling real estate transactions. We know in the economy and the market that we have today, everybody is telling you that it is impossible to buy or to sell. We know that we can get the deal done. Give us a call at 844-4DEVORE or hit the link below. Have a great day.
And with some parents, again, you know, like 50% of marriages end in divorce. 1 in 4 children are going to be born without a father in their home.
Wow.
And for the young man, the young woman that is watching this today, the forgiving those that didn't give you what you needed is going to be a vital component in you stepping forward and actually achieving what God has in store for you in this life. And I know like that's hard to do.
Yeah.
But it's so hard to move forward in a positive way if you're hanging on to anger and resentment.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, the abandonment, the loss, all of these things is...
And all of that affects your future relationships. You know, whatever you bring into it, you know, it's you just think about it. Like if you are being held down by something or you have something on your mind, you know, how much energy do you have to create a spark in a new relationship?
Yeah.
How much do you have available to that? You know, think about it in those terms. And then what would it look like if you let all that stuff go?
Right.
And you were able to forgive and it wasn't there? How much more energy would you put into your relationships?
Yeah. Because typically, it's kind of segmented a little bit, but it's kind of the same thing. A lot of times people don't even realize what they've done to you.
Yeah, that's right.
And
They don't think about it.
They don't.
I mean, I know I've hurt people, but I can't specify exactly what it was.
Right.
I know it happened.
We have a list. We're going to break that out
Cool.
here in a
That
minute.
sounds good.
But but when the offense happens to you, when the abandonment happens to you, you carry that.
You do.
And it hurts and it continues to hurt and it does and it takes away energy, it takes away motivation, it takes away passion, it takes away so much from being able to actually experience what true biblical joy is in this life, because we're hanging on to yesterday.
There's so much stuff, man.
You
And
know?
it really, you know, I would say find a way to let it go. You know, talk. I mean, if you gotta go to therapy, go to therapy.
Absolutely.
It's okay.
Yes.
Go to therapy. Find somebody that you can talk to. Listen, I've been to therapy.
Yep.
They don't go telling all your friends.
Right.
They listen. They're there. They'll be on your side. You know?
It is a good idea to find Switzerland. Right.
That's right.
Because if you don't like the therapy word, okay, find Switzerland.
Yeah, there you go.
Find that neutral party
Right.
that has no personal bias,
Yep.
that is immune to any of the relationships that might be involved in
That's
what's
right.
going on in your life,
That's right.
and just share.
Just share.
Just let it out.
And they'll look at it from a functional standpoint as well. They'll
Yeah.
help you organize your thoughts. They'll help you determine what's real, what's not, what you should be working on. But they'll get you going in the direction of working on yourself.
Yep.
And that's the hardest part that people forget. They want to blame others for the way that they are,
Right.
but then don't do any of the work on yourself. Why do we get like that?
Because it's easy. It's easy. It's easy for me to say, they did this, so this is the way that I am. Right? It's that generational curses, right? It's, granddaddy was a drunk because his granddaddy was a drunk.
Right.
So guess what?
I'm a drunk.
I'm a drunk. That's just what I do. That's just what we do.
They gave it to me.
Right.
And as long as you're able to blame somebody else, you don't have to work on anything.
Yeah. But if it was something good,
Oh, yeah, we forget about that.
you would want to take credit for it.
Yeah, no, that's mine. Yeah, not them. That's mine.
Right.
Yeah, I did that. That's right.
Because if go back, you did what your father did because that's what his father did. So if your grandfather was a blacksmith, your father was a blacksmith, and then you became a blacksmith, and you were the best blacksmith,
And on and on and on.
and on and on and on, and then you took that,
Yeah.
but the town drunk,
Yeah.
and then you became, well, that was their fault.
So how do we change it? How do we change that mentality?
So we need to, we need to get people to stop comparing their lives to other people.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Comparison kills.
Yep, absolutely.
Because if you,
Your experiences, your resources, the things that happen in your life, they have nothing to do with somebody else.
especially, no offense to where this video is going to be shown, but social media is absolutely horrible. And because we don't communicate, we isolate, and we see from afar this supreme level of happiness that all of these other people are experiencing, but I know how broken I am on the inside.
Right.
And now I'm even more angry. Now I'm pointing the finger into the direction of blame.
Wow.
And I don't want to change. So it's stop being isolated. Everybody thinks that, isolation was a byproduct of COVID, but it wasn't. It's something that's been around for thousands of years.
Yeah, we've been doing it to ourselves for years and years and years.
We just had an excuse.
Well, yeah, that keeps us from, furthering relationships.
Right.
I'm good. My relationships are good. Everybody's good. Everybody thinks great of me. Look at all the likes I get on my Instagram photos.
It's easy. And, we need men to step up. We need men to step up inside of their homes. We need men to step up inside of business and lead well and lead consistent. Lead consistent.
Yeah.
When we start to do those things, when we start communicating well, when we start as men, we can't expect for those that don't know to step up and be better unless we're going to show them how to be better.
Yeah. How do we clearly do that? Like clear.
What's the Bible say?
I mean, Bible says it's simple. It's just simplicity. Why do we make things so complicated?
Right.
Why? I mean, relationship is. I mean, what was it when they came and asked God, "Hey, what's the most important of the commandments?" It said, "Love God, love your neighbor."
There you go.
I mean, that was it. That was the simplicity of how we're to be leaders.
Correct.
Really, in my mind, when I
Correct.
see that, I look and I go, first, I love God. What do I get from that? The disciplines of a godly man. So I learned by loving God and respecting what He has for me.
That's
okay? It has to start there because you don't learn anything without that.
Yep.
And from that learning and from that understanding of what a relationship looks like, my relationship with God, I'm then able to love my neighbor through the same disciplines.
Yep. It's not complicated.
It's not.
It's do I work daily to serve Him, or do I work daily to serve me? Because if I work daily to serve me, none of the things that we've talked about today in my sphere of influence get any better.
Well, yeah, if you're working only to serve you and make sure everything serves you, you end up with you.
Yep.
And you isolated yourself.
And that's a very lonely place to be. That's a very
A lot of
lonely
damage
place
gets
to
done
be.
there.
It does.
A lot of damage gets done there. To yourself, to your inner core, to who you perceive yourself to be.
Mm-hmm.
The damage happens when you're alone.
Yep. I think another way that we can do to fix that is one, just expectations on other people sometimes are so unfair.
Oh yeah.
To expect that I get people regularly that will come to me with their stuff. And it's a blessing. And I'm glad that I have the opportunity to be there for that.
Right.
But I can't fix it.
No. You're not the fixer. You're listening.
Like, I can hear what you're saying, and I can point you in the right direction. But if you're not willing to do the work, like we talked about miracles earlier, right?
Yeah.
If you're willing to do the work, you're going to find the miracle.
Yeah.
And we were made to labor.
Yeah.
We were made to labor in
Yeah.
everything that we do. Adam was made to cultivate the garden.
Yep.
He was made to keep it. We were made to work. We were made to go out and multiply.
Well, I like to call mine show muscles. I'm just show muscles. Right. They're not working.
Yeah. We're called to work. And we're not called to be lazy. We're not called to sit around and watch 72 hours of Netflix every week. And I'm not saying that you can't watch a little TV.
Come on. At least give me 71.
I'll give you two. I'll give you two. There's only so much time in the day.
Yeah.
And are you spending that time and energy being sad, being broken, being depressed? Or are you going to spend that same amount of time understanding that these are real things?
Yeah.
Okay, now I have to force myself to do something to get away from those things.
Yeah. They're real relationships.
Yep.
Relationships take work.
Yep. You got to get involved with people. You got to find healthy people.
Yeah.
And that's hard sometimes too.
Yeah, it
because
is. It is.
Again, because we compare. And
Yeah.
we do that with relationships
Yeah.
too. We go find people that are similar
Right.
to where we're at. Me and John Vic, we talked about it a couple weeks ago. You're the sum of the 5 people you hang around the most.
That is true.
Right. So if you
Yeah.
find 5 depressive people,
You're going to be depressed.
whew,
Going to happen.
so if you're the one depressive person, but
Yeah.
you have found 4 or 5 highly motivated, super joyful, authentic human beings that just want to help you be better, you're going to be better.
It's only going to be time.
I'm Scott DeVore with DeVore Capital Contracting, multi-service licensed construction company. We are a certified roofing and general contractor. We do everything from residential to commercial roofing and all other construction services. If you are a homeowner or a commercial building owner and you have any roofing needs from repairs to replacements to tarping, please reach out to us at 844-4DEVOR or at the link below.
If you can, and I was like this when I first came into the church, like, why are all y'all people smiling? Like, are you really happy to see me? Or,
Right.
you know, like, just stop.
Yeah. Is this fake? It seems fake.
Because
You can't be that happy.
because I'm comparing them off of the environment in which that I was coming from,
Yeah.
and the environment in which I came from. The smiles and the joy and the laughter didn't come until you were 3/4 of the way down a fifth of Jack,
Yeah, exactly.
and
Normally you're trying to sell something.
or that.
Let me sell you this. Oh,
Yeah.
man. You know,
I was in sales for a long time, and every time I would I'd put on my salesman hat, and I still am in sales.
Yeah.
Every time I'd put on my salesman hat, I would have to.
get happy. Put up the face.
I would, and now that I've had an opportunity to have an encounter with Jesus Christ, that I understand what real joy is. I don't have to fake it anymore.
That's right.
So now I understand what these people were doing, and I'm like, are y'all fake? Are y'all real? And I can.
It was real the whole time?
Yeah, and I can compare myself to the guy that I used to be, and just see how difficult and hard that it was. You know, leave a sales call and just be exhausted
Oh, yeah.
because it wasn't authentic.
It wasn't authentic.
You know, products and services, they were all great and all of
Yeah,
those
yeah.
things, but the guy who was pitching it
Didn't have
wasn't
joyful foundation.
wasn't high energy, wasn't happy,
Wow.
didn't have hope. You know, had none of those things.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, now it's Friday, it's 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Let me go do what I do to recharge.
Which wasn't good.
which was not good at all. It's funny
Right.
as we sit in here, and we'll take a shot of it later. So the Duval County Jail is right there,
Yeah.
and I get to see it every day from my office, and I've had an opportunity to stay there a couple of times.
Yeah. Yeah. High class society right there. Right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, it
First
is.
class hotel, bathtub, golden claw.
So they have these really high-end Tempur-Pedic mattresses. They're blue. They're
Oh,
about
I'm
this.
sure,
They're
yeah.
about this
Yeah,
thick.
3/4 of an inch if you're lucky.
And they throw them on the concrete floor.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing time. And
Yeah.
like me trying to suppress the pain, the lack of the way that I was coping, that's where it led me.
Yeah.
And
Further isolation.
very much so. The freedom was completely removed.
Wow.
You know, and then step into this faith journey to actually understand what freedom is,
Right.
and to see what joy is, and to see there are people that are not like I was.
Yeah.
And because what we do is we create, well, I think one of the ways that we understanding that the thoughts that we are having when we're going through whatever we're going through,
Yeah.
those are fabricated lies
Yeah.
in our brain.
Yeah.
Maybe from the pit of hell, but definitely these, like, nobody is authentic. Everybody's out to get over on me. Nobody truly cares and loves me. All we're doing is saying the things that we feel about ourselves.
Yeah, that's right.
And we are putting those things onto other people.
It's not reality.
It's not
we
reality.
we will in isolation fabricate an entire reality that doesn't exist.
Yeah. You know, we talk about the multiverse, you know,
Yeah.
like there's so,
It's in our head. That's right.
you know, Marvel
That's
wants
right.
Marvel wants a new hit movie. They need to come and talk to me. I
Yeah,
can
there you
tell them
go.
about
You got-
where my brain used to be.
That's right.
we can jump down we can jump down that rabbit hole, but
Yeah.
it's like, no, there is peace, there is hope, there is joy, there is freedom.
So are you saying freedom really occurs when we have relationships?
Absolutely.
Like
Absolutely.
when we got locked on, you mentioned a number earlier, five. You are the sum of the 5 people that you hang out with. And I would say you pick those 5 and those are your strongest relationships. Is that when you experience true freedom of yourself?
I think it's part of the journey. I think the true freedom comes from having that encounter with the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
Because
Oh, yeah,
you've surrendered.
It all starts there.
Because you've surrendered your
Yeah,
life
that's
to
right.
Jesus. And
Yeah.
then that just starts the journey. And like something changes in that moment.
Relationships are not one way. They start out that way.
Sure.
They're going to start out. You're the one initiating that relationship. You know, you see somebody that's struggling. Hey, how can I develop a relationship?
Yep.
Okay. And then you start coaching them, bringing them along. And eventually that relationship starts to return.
Sure.
They start to feed back into you. They start saying, hey, how can I help you? How does that make me a better leader? You know, but that develops. They become one of the three. That one of three, I call it the relationship cycle. And eventually you guys are equally giving to each other. And that's when, all right, get out of the group.
Yep. Now we gotta multiply.
Let's see how you do that.
Now
That's discipleship.
That's absolutely
It's
discipleship.
how it works.
Without it, we're just individual men running around on an island all by ourselves, and we fail, we stumble, and we have nobody to hold us accountable. We have nobody to encourage us. We have nobody to show us what we don't have. And you see all of these, and I wasn't going to go here today, but when you look at all of these prominent figures in the North American church in the last couple of years that have fallen.
Yeah.
Every single one of those events, for the most part, could have been avoided if they had true accountability around them.
That's
true accountability around them. Or accountability close enough to realize that they were isolated and they were walking out of alignment as to what the office they hold should look like.
Yeah, that's right.
So over here, we need men to be men, even if this man doesn't want it.
Yeah, that's right.
No, you need this
Yep.
for your safety and your protection. If you're going to walk outside of that, then I don't know that you're worthy to carry the office.
Yeah, that's right.
Because that's not what this book
You
says.
don't understand the you don't understand the position.
Right.
Because you are leading whatever group that you're leading.
Yep.
You know, and they're all depending on you. And
That's
if you're
it.
acting a certain way, then that group cannot depend on you.
Hope you're enjoying the content. I want to invite you to check out the Free Factor podcast hosted by myself, Scott DeVore, aka Free. I sit down with entrepreneurs, entertainers, musicians, all types of people who are bringing value and education and mindset. So check out the Free Factor podcast at the link below.
That's it. So speaking of leading a group and depending on, we'll transition here for a second. Trevor Lawrence just got paid a lot of money.
Yeah, he did.
To lead a team.
What a deal.
To lead a city.
Jaguars got a great deal.
A great deal.
Great deal.
Bargain?
A bargain deal.
Okay.
He's taking us, next year he's going to be a Super Bowl winning champion. But what would that have cost us?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's right. That's
All
right,
right.
man.
So
I'm calling it now.
You're calling it now.
Calling it now.
All right. You got a you got a season record.
I'm going to say 13-4.
You're gonna go 13-4, winning the Super Bowl.
Winning the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Beating Joe Burrow in the AFC Championship. That's right. $55 million a year versus $55 million a year. We're going to see who's better. It's going to be Trevor.
Better. Okay.
Then you'll see and go, yeah, we got a deal.
We got a deal. Okay. All right. I see it. You know, you've been here a long time.
1985,
Okay.
I've moved in.
Yeah.
I was here when the Jaguars expanded. I've seen every game, everyone. Brunell, Taylor, Baselli. I watched him get drafted.
Yeah. So you're a fan.
I am the ultra fan.
You are
one
the
of
ultra
one of the
fan.
few consistent throughout the decade of losses.
You know, man, I love the Jaguars. I love that our city has a team.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I was a season ticket holder,
Yeah.
and then I wasn't.
Mm.
And some of that I did move.
Why did you give up on that quality entertainment?
Yeah, I did move, and I was going through a lot in my personal life that it was hard for me to process my depressiveness and then leaving the game sad.
I get it. There was a while where that's the only way you left.
Here we go again.
Oh yeah.
Here we go again. But no, I am optimistic. I like what the city's doing. I like what the organization is doing, and to have the confidence, right? Because we like to sit back.
Oh yeah.
Over here and,
Monday morning quarterback
and see, like, oh well, Trevor's not this and Trevor's not that. Well, the people that are in relationship with him.
Oh yeah.
And in conversation with him.
Oh yeah.
On a regular basis, believe that he is worth that contract.
Yeah.
So
do the super fans, the
so do
conservative
super
fans. Yes, we do. We agree.
Right. So there's a unity there.
That's true.
There's a unity there. So hopefully that unity will show up on opening day.
Yeah.
and string together some sellouts.
Oh yeah.
And pump some authentic noise into the stadium, and we'll see what we can do. Because I'm interested. Like I say, I'm hopeful. And Shad Khan, he how long has he been the owner now?
That would have been 2015.
15. Okay.
That's when Wayne.
So
I think Weaver was last year was 14.
Okay, so he's 9.
Not that super fan, I guess.
Not-
I can't
yeah.
remember for sure.
That was a test. That was a test. That was Jaguar Trivia 101.
Ah,
And
man.
you lost. You
Ah,
lost. You do
good.
not get the
Oh,
prize.
good. It might have been earlier, Nick. Yeah.
So,
I
all
think
right.
it's
So
over
we'll just call
Anyways.
it, 9, 10 years.
Yeah, there you go.
And that was one thing that I've seen is like, especially like down here in downtown.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
been some development,
Yeah.
and things are moving in the right
100%.
direction.
100%.
And I think in the next 5 to 10 years,
Yeah.
the landscape here is going to look different.
It's going to drastically change.
Now, with that being said,
Yeah.
I also remember when the expansion draft happened,
Oh, yes.
and it was the same conversation.
Yeah.
It was the hopes and the dreams
Yeah.
of having a franchise was
Hmm.
going to energize, revolutionize, and
Yep.
really just remake the city.
Yeah.
And big picture, I don't know that we've seen that yet.
Yeah.
But
it
I
hasn't-
do think a Super Bowl win
Oh, yeah.
would do it.
Yeah, that will do it.
That would do it.
That will do it. That's going to be the deal, part of the deal.
Right.
See, Trevor's going to get us there, and then we're going to get the city, everything going with it.
Yeah. Did you remember when we hosted the Super Bowl in 97?
No.
No,
That
no.
would have been
03.
It would have been when we put. Yeah, it was it was when the Eagles won.
Yeah.
Andy Reid won
Yep.
here. Was
Yeah.
it? No. I can't remember when we did the Super Bowl. I didn't go. I was out of town that day.
So I think we hosted it. I think we hosted in 03. Somebody's gonna hit the comments and let us
Oh,
know
yeah.
how far we off are on our dates. But you remember that was one of the things that we should not have been a host city.
Yeah, we
Because
struggled with that.
We struggled
We
with
didn't
that.
have the hotels.
Didn't have the hotels.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that's got to be fixed.
It's gotta be. It's gotta
I mean,
be
we have the Four Seasons going down there. That's a big deal.
That is a huge deal.
There's other developments for hotels to come down here. There's a lot of stuff that's got to get cleaned up.
Right.
That's been the biggest challenge. It's
Yep.
like downtown used to be a shipyard.
Yep.
There's all kind of environmental things down there. They're getting them cleaned up.
Takes a while.
And that was the hardest part as far as getting the downtown going. It's having the funding, first of all, to get it all cleaned up, to make it buildable. And that's really Shad Khan behind the scenes. He is making this city happen. And that's why he is the best owner we could possibly have in Jacksonville.
Awesome.
His company in Iguana Developments, they are coming down. They are clearing up the land. They're doing a lot of things to add and fix the infrastructure
Awesome.
down here.
Yeah, because on the other side of it, and you make a valid point, because a lot of
Yeah.
that land has not been used for.
Yeah.
It had its use.
It was dirty.
Yeah, it was absolutely dirty, but we need more
Yeah.
than just the Jaguars.
Yeah, that's right. And we're getting it.
Because we can build all of these hotels,
Oh yeah.
but we need.
Well, you got to have landmark stuff.
You gotta have
You got to You got to have items that people want to go see.
Right.
And that's why we got the Jaguar Performance Center.
Yep.
You can get down there. We got the Four Seasons,
Mhm.
and if anybody's seen the plans for that thing, it's phenomenal.
It's massive.
Right next to that, you got Shipyards West Park being built. Right next to that, you got Museum. I forget what I call it. Museum Row.
Yep.
You got the USS Orlick. We have the Fire Museum coming there. We have the Mosh moving over there. They're trying to isolate and get downtown built.
Yep.
And what they're trying to do, if you haven't seen it, is they're trying to make a line like the Bay Street. They're trying to have a park and have all the big things people want to see, but then have a shot line right to the heart of the city, which is where Riverfront Plaza is going to be,
Right.
where the landing used to be.
Yep.
And they're going to have, you're going to be able to come there, come down Bay Street, hit all these merchants and vendors, and get to the parks in downtown. They're redoing James Weldon Johnson Park.
Mm-hmm.
You had to lift every voice and sing park. We need parks. These parks have got to be built, and they're being built.
Yeah.
And so that's going to revitalize the city.
I like
Even Calford Chop House, that's a place people want to come and go eat.
Right. Yeah.
All
No,
those things matter.
That's a good steak.
I love it.
It's a good. It's a good steak. So, Man, I love you, bro. I appreciate you coming today.
Absolutely, man.
Again,
Thank you so much.
you. You're very welcome. You're very welcome anytime. Thank you for checking out this episode of the Will Podcast. We hope that we have accomplished our mission to inspire you with some wisdom, inspiration, leadership, and legacy. You can follow us on YouTube. Check us out on Instagram. I am Will904, and we look forward to talking to you soon. Be blessed.